Welcome back to my channel, Celeb Buzz. Please share and subscribe and press the bell icon for new updates. Angie Dickinson was born with the name Angeline Brown on September 30th, 1931 in a small town called Culm in North Dakota. She was the second of 4 daughters. Her dad, Leo Henry Brown, worked at the town newspaper as the person who published and wrote stories. Her mom was named Frederica. Angie grew up in a German-American family that thought education, being disciplined, and working hard were very important. When Angie was 10 years old, her whole family moved to Burbank, California. This move was really important because it put Angie much closer to Hollywood, where she would later become famous as an actress. She didn't know it then, but this move would change her whole life. Even though Angie didn't plan to become an actress at first, living so close to Hollywood and having a natural way of looking good on camera would soon change what she wanted to do with her life. Angie went to Glendale College first and then moved to another school called Immaculate Heart College in Los Angeles. There she got a business degree because she wanted to become a writer or work in an office job. She worked as a secretary and even worked at Lockheed Air Terminal for a while. But because she was so pretty and had such a captivating personality, someone asked her to enter a local beauty contest. In 1953, she came in second place in a Miss America contest that was held before the main one. This beauty contest was a big turning point in her life. Being in that contest helped people notice her, and it opened doors for her to do modeling work and appear on television shows. This led to chances to try out for acting jobs. Hollywood scouts, who are people who look for new actors, quickly noticed how special she was. By the middle of the 1950s, her acting career started to really take shape and grow. Her first movie role happened in 1954, but the role that really made her famous was in a Western movie called Rio Bravo in 1959. This movie was directed by a man named Howard Hawks. In this movie, she acted alongside some really big movie stars like John Wayne, Dean Martin, and Ricky Nelson. In Rio Bravo, Angie played a character named Feathers, who was both sexy and strong-willed. People really liked her performance because she showed elegance, sexiness, and was very witty and smart. This role showed that she could play many different types of characters and proved that she could act just as well as Hollywood's most famous male actors. The movie was a huge success, and it made Angie become a mainstream star. It also helped create her image as a leading lady who could show both glamour and toughness at the same time. During the 1960s, Angie's movie career really grew and became successful. She starred in many different types of movies, including scary thrillers, crime dramas, and romantic comedies that made people laugh. Her performances in movies like Ocean's 11 in 1960, where she worked with the Rat Pack, and The Killers in 1964, where she acted opposite Lee Marvin, showed that she could play complicated women who sometimes did bad things, but she made these characters interesting and magnetic. She also appeared in memorable movies like Point Blank in 1967 and Big Bad Mama in 1974. These movies showed how bold she was in choosing roles that pushed boundaries and went against what people expected from actresses. Angie was never happy just being a beautiful face on screen. She demanded that her characters be multidimensional, meaning they had to be strong, vulnerable, seductive, and intelligent, all at the same time. In 1974, she took on what would become the most famous role of her whole career. She played Sergeant Suzanne Pepper Anderson in a groundbreaking television show called Police Woman. As one of the first female main characters in a TV police drama, Angie broke down barriers for women in media and entertainment. The show ran from 1974 to 1978 and was not only a commercial hit that made lots of money, but it was also a cultural milestone that was very important for society. It paved the way for future TV shows that would have strong female main characters. Angie's portrayal of a competent and fearless undercover cop really connected with both male and female audiences who watched the show. She earned a Golden Globe Award for Best Actress in a Drama Series and got multiple Emmy nominations for this role. Policewoman made Angie Dickinson a household name, which means almost everyone in America knew who she was. It also cemented her place in television history forever. Angie Dickinson continued to act well into the 1990s and early 2000s. She took on mature roles that showed how her artistry and acting skills had grown over the years. She appeared in acclaimed projects such as Brian De Palma's Dressed to Kill in 1980, which was a suspenseful and controversial film that earned her critical acclaim from movie critics. She also starred in the TV movie Hollywood Wives in 1985. She appeared in HBO's Big Bad Love in 2001 and had a small cameo appearance in Ocean's 11 in 2001, which was a nod to her original film with the Rat Pack many years earlier. Her ability to stay in the entertainment industry for so long, coupled with her willingness to take creative risks and try new things, has earned her admiration from multiple generations of fans and other performers. Angie was also an avid poker player who really loved the game. During the summer of 2004, she participated in the second season of Bravo's Celebrity Poker Showdown, which was a TV show where famous people played poker against each other. After announcing her name, the host Dave Foley said something really nice. He said, "Sometimes when we say celebrity, we actually mean it," which was his way of saying that Angie was a real important celebrity, not just someone famous for no good reason. Also in 2004, Angie appeared in a comedy movie called Elvis Has Left the Building, where she played an ex-mechanic and the mother of Kim Basinger's character. In 1999, Playboy magazine ranked Angie as number 42 on their list of the 100 sexiest stars of the century, which was a big honor. In 2002, TV Guide magazine ranked her as number 3 on a list of the 50 sexiest television stars of all time. She was ranked behind Diana Rigg and George Clooney, who tied for number 1 on that list. In 2009, Angie starred in a Hallmark Channel drama called Mending Fences, where she co-starred with Laura Leighton. This is her last acting credit to date, meaning it's the last movie or TV show she appeared in. Angie Dickinson's personal life was just as eventful and interesting as her celebrated acting career that everyone loved. Her first marriage was to a man named Gene Dickinson, who was a college football star that later started working in the electronics industry. The couple got married in 1952 at a time when Angie was still at the beginning of her career and Gene was trying to establish himself professionally. Their marriage, though it ultimately didn't last very long, marked an important chapter in her early adult life. Even though they separated in 1956, the marriage wasn't officially ended until 1960 when they got divorced. Interestingly, even after the divorce, Angie chose to keep the surname Dickinson instead of going back to her maiden name, Brown. This surname would become iconic as she rose to fame in Hollywood. Her decision to keep the name suggests that she had both a personal and professional attachment to the identity she had built under that name. During her marriage to Gene, Angie became friends with a prominent economist named John Kenneth Galbraith and his wife, Catherine Galbraith. This friendship would grow into a meaningful and intellectually stimulating relationship that was very important to her. Angie often visited the Galbraiths and even went with them on diplomatic tours when John Galbraith worked as the U.S. ambassador to India under President John F. Kennedy. Her experiences and interactions with the couple during these trips were written about in detail in Galbraith's memoirs, which were books he wrote about his life called Ambassador's Journal and A Life in Our Times. These accounts give us rare insight into Angie Dickinson's exposure to global affairs and cultural diplomacy, showing a side of her that went well beyond her work in movies and television. In 1965, Angie got married for the second time to what would become her most high-profile and long-lasting marriage, to a world-renowned composer and songwriter named Burt Bacharach. Bacharach was a towering figure in American music, known for timeless hits like What the World Needs Now Is Love and Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. He shared with Angie a glamorous yet deeply complex relationship that had many ups and downs. The couple remained married for 16 years, but their union was not without its struggles and problems. In the later years of their marriage, they experienced a period of separation during which they both explored relationships with other people, reflecting the evolving dynamics of their partnership and how their relationship was changing. On July 12th, 1966, Angie and Burt welcomed their only child together, a daughter named Leah Nikki Bacharach, whom they affectionately called Nikki. Nikki's early years were marked by significant challenges and difficulties. She was diagnosed with autism, which meant she needed special care and attention throughout her life. Angie, who had always been a very private person who didn't like to share personal details with the public, became a devoted and protective mother. She dedicated much of her time to making sure Nikki was well taken care of and had everything she needed. Despite their best efforts and all the love they gave her, Nikki struggled with mental health issues for many years of her life. In a tragic turn of events that was very sad, she died by suicide on January 4th, 2007 at the age of 40. Her death was a devastating blow to both of her parents, especially Angie. Angie had been unwavering in her love and support for her daughter throughout Nikki's whole life, Burt Bacharach himself would later speak publicly about the immense pain and difficulty of raising a child with such complex needs, acknowledging that Nikki's struggles left a lasting impact on both their lives that they would never forget. Bacharach passed away in 2023, closing the chapter on a remarkable life that had been so closely connected with Dickinson's during their years together as a married couple. Following the end of her marriage to Bacharach, Angie Dickinson maintained an active social life and continued to explore romantic relationships with other men, though she never got married again after that. In the 1980s, she was romantically involved with a singer and songwriter named Billy Vera, who is best known for his soulful hit song called At This Moment. Their relationship showed that Angie continued to be attracted to creative and artistic individuals who worked in entertainment. She even made an appearance in the music video for Vera's single I Can Take Care of Myself, which showed her continued connection to the entertainment world outside of just acting in movies and TV shows. In the 1990, Dickinson's personal life once again drew public attention when she became romantically involved with the legendary broadcaster and interviewer Larry King, who was very famous for his talk show. The relationship lasted for several years and was characterized by mutual respect and affection for each other. King, who was known for his long-running talk show and his ability to connect with a wide array of different guests, found in Angie a woman of depth, intelligence, and poise. Though their romance eventually came to an end and they broke up, it showed that Angie Dickinson still had enduring appeal and her ability to connect with influential figures across many different fields. Angie Dickinson, a silver screen legend whose striking beauty and on-screen charisma captivated audiences for decades, was never one to shy away from telling it like it was and speaking her mind honestly about people and situations. With a career that lasted from the golden age of Hollywood into the modern television era, Dickinson had her fair share of encounters, both good and bad, with fellow actors, directors, producers, and power players in the entertainment industry. Though she was known for her charm and professionalism when working, Dickinson was also a woman who commanded respect and had little patience for arrogance, cruelty, or condescension from other people. Over the years, she was honest and candid in interviews and private conversations about a handful of famous men in the industry, whom she found to be shockingly rude or dismissive toward her and others. These were not just minor irritations or small problems. These men, according to Dickinson, left lasting impressions as some of the worst personalities she ever encountered during her long career in Hollywood. Number one was Frank Sinatra, and their complicated friendship turned cold over time. While Angie Dickinson and Frank Sinatra shared a well-publicized friendship and even flirted with romance at one point, their relationship was not always smooth sailing and had many problems. Though she admired his talent and charisma as a performer, Dickinson often hinted that Sinatra could be extraordinarily moody and cruel behind closed doors when cameras weren't rolling. She remembered moments when his temper would flare up without warning, and he would lash out verbally at those around him, including her. Dickinson, who was a woman of grace and class, found this kind of behavior completely intolerable and unacceptable. She once allegedly said that Sinatra's charm could disappear faster than a desert mirage, especially when he felt crossed or threatened by someone. The respect she once held for him began to erode and disappear as she witnessed how he treated people who couldn't do anything for him or help his career. Though they maintained a complicated friendship over the years, the bitterness left by his harsh words stayed in her memory for years. Number two was John Wayne, the icon who was dismissive toward her. Angie Dickinson co-starred with John Wayne in Rio Bravo in 1959, which was a role that catapulted her into stardom and made her famous. But while fans remember the on-screen chemistry between the Duke and Dickinson that looked great in the movie, behind the scenes, it was a completely different story. Dickinson reportedly found Wayne to be extremely patronizing, which means he talked down to her like she wasn't as smart or important as him. Though he never openly insulted her directly, she felt his attitude toward her was full of condescension, which means he looked down on her. He didn't treat her as an equal despite her professionalism and talent as an actress. She once told people privately that Wayne talked to me like I was a schoolgirl, not an actress. His towering persona and old-fashioned views on women clashed with Dickinson's growing independence as a female star who wanted to be treated with respect. While she appreciated what Rio Bravo did for her career and how it made her famous, she left that film with a sense of disappointment in Wayne's behavior toward her. She privately ranked him among the rudest co-stars she'd ever worked with during her long career. Number 3 was Jack Webb, who was cold and controlling toward everyone around him. Jack Webb was the creator of Dragnet and Policewoman, and he gave Dickinson one of her most iconic roles as Sergeant Pepper Anderson that made her a household name. But while the show made her famous and successful, the relationship with Webb was strained and difficult. Behind the scenes, Dickinson found Webb to be rigid, emotionless, and overly controlling in ways that made working with him extremely difficult and unpleasant. Even though the two had a brief romance at one point, it didn't soften his sharp demeanor or make him nicer to work with. She was constantly battling for creative input and struggled under his inflexible directing style that never allowed for changes. Dickinson later said that Webb treated his actors like interchangeable parts in a machine rather than treating them like artists who had ideas and creativity. His refusal to acknowledge her ideas or individuality led to frequent clashes and arguments between them, and she never fully forgave him for the way he dismissed her concerns and treated her opinions as unimportant. He remained in her mind as one of the coldest and most difficult men she had ever encountered in the business throughout her entire career. Number 4 was Lee Marvin, whose charisma was masking cruelty underneath. Angie Dickinson had a few unforgettable run-ins with Lee Marvin, who was known for his gruff screen persona and explosive temper. While they never worked extensively together on movies, their social interactions in Hollywood, parties, and events left a bad taste in her mouth that she never forgot. Marvin, according to Dickinson, had a special talent for making people feel small and unimportant with just a few words. She described him as a man who used sarcasm like a whip to hurt people's feelings. One incident at a dinner party reportedly left her feeling humiliated when Marvin mocked her acting ability in front of a crowd of other people. He later laughed it off as just a joke, but Dickinson was far from amused and didn't think it was funny at all. She found him arrogant, insensitive, and mean-spirited, which were traits that overshadowed his acting talent. She placed him firmly on her list of the rudest celebrities she ever crossed paths with during her time in Hollywood. Number 5 was Burt Reynolds, the charmer who went too far with his behavior. Burt Reynolds, who was known for his roguish smile and charm that made women like him, was someone Dickinson initially liked when she first met him. They shared scenes together in movies and ran in similar Hollywood circles, so they saw each other often. But over time, Dickinson grew weary and tired of what she called his egotistical games and self-centered behavior. While Reynolds was adored by fans and praised for his charisma and charm, Dickinson saw another side of him. She saw a man who often used his charm as a mask to hide manipulative and disrespectful behavior toward women and other people. On movie sets, she said Reynolds was flippant and dismissive of her ideas, and he was too focused on his own image and how he looked to care about anyone else's work or contributions. In private situations, she felt he was flirtatious to the point of making her feel uncomfortable, and she eventually began to avoid him altogether at parties and events. She once made a witty comment that Burt liked women who stayed in their place, and I wasn't one of them. That attitude and behavior earned him a place on her personal blacklist of rude celebrities. Though Angie Dickinson carried herself with elegance and restraint in public, those who knew her well said she had a steel spine and a strong memory when it came to people who treated her unfairly or with disrespect. While she rarely named names publicly in interviews or talked openly about these incidents, those close to her claimed she never forgot the men who insulted her intelligence, ignored her talent, or treated her like just another pretty face in a male-dominated industry. Her quiet revenge was surviving and thriving in a world where many people tried to diminish her and make her feel less important. And in her private recollections and memories, these 5 men, however talented they may have been, stood out not for their achievements, but for the lasting impressions of rudeness and disrespect they left behind in her mind.